Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Mr. President, Paritwachara Sindh, Madam President-elect, Paulina Ivanova, dear secretaries, fellow students, faculty, no faculty, they're here, they're not here, you don't allow them, right. A tremendous pleasure indeed to have considered me worthy of seeing you again. Last time I was here probably in 2005. And 2013 is the right year for me because 6 months' time from now, there will be a new president in Afghanistan. Coming to the university, this university, especially, all universities, but this university especially, is inspiring. You want to be a student forever and never leave. But that's a luxury life doesn't afford to all of us. When I was studying in India, in a university, my aspirations were to be an academic and a teacher after I was a student. But life took me to worst places. One of them is the president. In 2005, I spoke about Afghanistan, of our achievements, of our hopes to the future. Now it's 5 and 3, it's 8 years later. I can speak with more confidence about our achievements in Afghanistan and with more knowledge of our challenges and difficulties in Afghanistan, and with confidence of the future awaiting the Afghan people, especially its youth, and rising. In 2001, as we began to liberate Afghanistan from the Taliban, their associates, the Al-Qaeda, and others, we received for the first time a foreign force, an international force, as liberators, and joined hands with, freed our country, and began on a journey to a new life, whereby the Afghan people would send back their children to school, would work for a better health system, more roads, return of women to public life, universities, schools, and all of that. This we did in plenty with the help of countries that you represent here today, many countries. Britain was among the leaders, with contribution to Afghan education, Afghan health, roads, infrastructure, and as our bureaucrats would call, capacity building. So thank you, Britain, through Oxford. We recognize it and we appreciate it. Education, comparative to 2001. We had nearly 500,000 students going to school then, mainly boys, very few girls. Today, we are nearly 9 million of our young going to school. 40 to 45% of them girls. Universities, I remember very well, we had maybe 2 or 3 in name. Today, over 30. Public and many more private. Girls in our universities, above 25%. Health services, from 9% of the population's access to health, today is over 60%. Maternity care, child care, life expectancy, all much better. Women rising, empowered in the parliament, in the government. My deputy spokesperson, right, very young and rising. My deputy chief of staff, and I see other Afghan women as well present here. So, doing very well in that. Economic development, very good. We had a GDP of perhaps less than $200 or $300 million. Today, $2 billion. Income per capita of less than 20. Well, 20 is too much a figure for me, so I said 2. 20 billions. I am a layman when it comes to figures of money. So 2 billion for me, 20 billion for the Minister of Finance. Now, income per capita. Then, 2001, $150 to $180. Today, nearly $700. If you take it to the purchasing parity, it's a lot more. It's over $1,000. Youth, rising exceptionally well. Thousands of students in universities. We began a plan 3 years ago of purely Afghan money, Afghan taxpayers' money, as it said, in the amount of 10 million a year. This year, 15 million. To send Afghan students abroad to studies, mainly to India, Turkey, Malaysia, some to Europe. We are mindful of costs. And in the government and in bureaucracy. The freedom of the press, you know my condition, immensely good. A free media, televisions, more than 30. In 2001, we had only 1 government channel. It still is as bad as it was then. The freedom of the press is par excellent, much better than the standards of the region. You can say that it is freer than the British press. You have regulations, we don't have regulations. Political development, governance, improving slowly. Politicians are not in a hurry to improve governance, but it has improved better. Institutions of the state, democracy, parliament, judiciary, all organs in place. Rudimentary, basic, the foundation is laid. It will take time. If you ask me how I write my letters today as the president and how I wrote them then, massive difference. Then I would check my letters when I sent abroad or within the country 10 to 15 times. This time, when Mrs. Ithmadi brings the letters, I check them 5 times. So a 10% change or a tenfold change towards betterment. International relations, exceptionally good. The Afghan flag is flying all over the world. With the regional countries, broad relations, exceptionally good. Most important of all, ladies and gentlemen, for us as Afghans, most important of all the achievements, Afghanistan, once again, after years of turmoil and trouble, is home for all Afghans. All walks of life, all region, all tribes, all ethnicities, all thinking, ideology, left to the right, are there, sitting side by side in the parliament, men, women, leftists, rightists, centrists as well, occasionally. They're all there. And that is perhaps our biggest achievement. Afghanistan, a country for all Afghans. Challenges. I wanted to say failures, but I moderated myself. So I will call them challenges. The world came to Afghanistan, NATO and the United States, to free our country from extremism and terrorism, and to fight it, and to bring security to Afghans. They did help us in all the accomplishments that I mentioned, and we are grateful for all the countries who helped, from America to Britain to Europe, all the way to Japan and our neighbors. All this would have not been possible without that help, the help of the taxpayers. You are included in that. So if there is an Afghan child today that's literate, that's going to school, it's because of your contribution. One area where we have not been happy was security. The presence of the international community, NATO, the United States, did not strategize its approach the way we wanted them. The war on terror was never to be found in Afghan villages or homes anyway. Bombing our villages, conducting night raids was wrong. And that was the main tension between me and our allies and the United States. That tension continues till today. We want improvements. We want the Afghan people to stop suffering. We want night raids to end on Afghans. Terrorism is not in our homes. It has to be found elsewhere, in the training grounds, in the motivational factors, in causes, not in Afghan homes, in villages. That we are unhappy about. The other challenge, parallel structures created by the Americans in NATO or the helping countries. Almost a parallel government was set up. We worked very hard to improve that. It has improved today. The transition is also leading to improvements there. Short-term fixes, quick impact projects, much taxpayer money is wasted on it. We don't need in Afghanistan USAID or DFID or any money to be spent on quick impact projects. No, we like long-term projects, dams, water, proper electricity, any aspect of development that you enjoy here, we like to enjoy in Afghanistan. And that we believe can be done better and best by consultation with us and by embarking on a strategically oriented developmental approach, which means sustainability and self-reliance. This, we hope we will get to an agreement with after we and the Americans have agreed on the bilateral security agreement, to which I will come in a minute. Now, the next most important objective of us, rather, in terms of our pursuit of happiness for the Afghan people, the most important objective of ours, peace in Afghanistan. Peace for the Afghan people, peace for the region, peace for Pakistan, peace for us, and peace for the rest of the world. As far as Afghanistan is concerned, it still avoids us. We are running after it. We hope we will get it. We launched a peace process some time back, and it worked in stops and moves. It is not working as we want to. We had just the day before yesterday a trilateral between Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Britain under the auspices and goodwill of the British Prime Minister, Mr. Cameron. We hope to advance it further with our Pakistani brothers and sisters in Pakistan and with the help of the United States and the international community. The coming elections will take Afghanistan further to a solidified democratic governance. We'll be cementing our democracy through the coming elections. The elections for the president, the election for the provincial councils. This time, in 10 years, it is the first time that we will be conducting elections, as far as the institutions are concerned, all on our own. So it's critically important for us to conduct them good and proper, so the Afghan people can vote without fearing interference, so the Afghan people can vote freely and elect their next president. That will be in 5 months' time for both the president and the provincial councils. Done that better, I hope, and I wish, and I'm working for it, Afghanistan will have made an immense step forward. And my own legacy would be solidified and strong through a good and proper elections. And then, after that, I will retire to a good freedom. The bilateral security agreement is the next important item on our agenda. The United States wants to have in Afghanistan bases. BSA, or bilateral security agreement, is euphemism for bases. Military bases, airplanes, tanks, US soldiers on our soil, together with NATO, which in other words we describe as the transition process. Today, the transition is completed. The responsibility is given more to Afghan forces, the Afghan army, the Afghan police, to provide security for the Afghan people. The presence of the international community in 2014 will not be as it is today. The British troops will have come home, the American troops will have gone home, the Germans, the Swedes, the Australians, the Italians, and all others would have gone home. And I hope that a year from now, the Afghan people will be in a situation where they can thank them for the services given. And I hope that through the BSA, the bilateral security agreement, the United States will agree with Afghanistan on the demands that we have, which means respect for Afghan sovereignty, which means proper conduct in Afghan society, which means no attacks on our homes or on our people, which means no civilian casualties, period. So a sovereign, peaceful, and stable Afghanistan will be happy to give the United States a BSA. And 20 days from today, we will be conducting a jirga, a lawyer jirga of the Afghan people. Lawyer jirga means Grand Council. It will be almost like the Oxford Student Union. There will be 2,500 of them, or 3,000, I believe. They will come to Kabul from all over the country, from all walks of life. Tribal elders, religious figures, intellectuals, teachers, technocrats, skilled people, lawyers, representatives of the Afghan people from all walks of life will come to Kabul to study the BSA's details, and where they agree, they will say yes. Where they don't agree, they will say no. But I feel generally that they will agree to it because they recognize that the BSA brings certain advantages to Afghanistan. So we will take the advantages and take the negatives and put it back in an envelope and deliver it to the United States. So, ladies and gentlemen, Afghanistan is moving forward. Moving forward means that what you hear in the press, the BBC, I was there yesterday, a lively place, you can't believe it. Full of enthusiasm to write stories about people. the CNN, the New York Times, the Guardian. You must have read them or seen them. They have been concerned about 2014 in Afghanistan. That come 2014 and the departure of foreign forces, Afghanistan will be back to troubles. No. Certainly not. Afghanistan from 2014 onwards will be a better country. Afghanistan has been transformed fundamentally, with the hundreds of thousands of youth educated, with a thriving civil society, active, with the community, with the press, with governance, with awareness, and more important, most important, a desire for good life in the empowerment of the whole country. We know our direction, and the direction is to a better future. So if you ask how I see Afghanistan from 2014 onwards, I see it better. The next president will have a better government for him, a better civil service for him, a better economy, because we also have natural resources. We're quite rich. We have been keeping it a secret, but we have plenty. Oil, gas, lithium, what they call the rare earth material. Any scientists here? Students of there? Good. You know what I'm talking about. There too. So Afghanistan has riches, but we are careful. We don't want our riches to become a curse for us. We want to exploit them and extract them properly, where they are of use to the Afghan people, where they strengthen governance and a better economy. The Afghanistan of tomorrow will be one that you would like to visit as tourists. The Afghanistan tomorrow will be one that will have more students in Oxford. The Afghanistan of tomorrow will be one that will be less and less a burden on the international community. The Afghanistan of tomorrow will be sooner rather than later a self-reliant country. And that's what we want. Thank you very much.